Welcome all together and welcome to the Fruit Logistica and especially to the Future Lab of the Fruit Logistica in 2025. Here we are looking into the future of production, into the future of fruit, vegetable and their varieties, and we look into the future of marketing. Yesterday and today we've been talking a lot about artificial intelligence, about fighting pests, about finding new varieties, and last, about reusing water for sustainability. In almost every field that we have been talking about, there is some part digital, some part artificial intelligence, and this is why we have now, to kind of round it all up for the first 2 days, Antonella Pucci, please come on the stage, who will, please a big applause. Hello.
Hello.
And Antonella will share with us the impact of digital and regenerative agriculture on agri-food value chain and the role for sustainability. Now that is a high goal, a lot of KPIs to meet. We are keen to know what you are going to tell us.
Okay, thank you.
The stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Okay, hello everybody. So it's really a pleasure to be here, and thanks for taking the time to hear my talk out. So some practical information about me first. So I am Antonella Pucci, and I work for BASF in the team of the regional team, so Europe, and I take responsibility in the marketing sector. So basically, here talking about food value chain and sustainability and new business model development. So for any questions or anything, please do just reach out whenever you want to. And also, if there's any follow-ups, please come and meet us at our booth. So in hall 1.2, and the stand is C23. Okay, so that's it for my, let's say, practical information. So let's kick into the topic. So I'm quite excited to be here on stage, and most of you know us as the fungicide company, right? So basically that's our core business, active ingredients very much in the line, and also we would like to talk a little bit more about the innovation pipeline, so the digital component. And then not only that, we also have very many different products. So also thinking about our biodegradable plastics. So we have the clips coming in as well, so being launched right now. But I would really like to take the time to discuss more about the digital component and how this fits into in the part of the agri-food value chain, and also the role in sustainability. So let me kick it right in. So when we talk about sustainability and also the digital component, it's really trying to steer ourselves into the needs of the agri-food value chain. So what we do here basically is trying to meet the growers' needs, and really trying to get the request from the distribution. So let's say, describe to you the different requirements which I've been collecting whilst I've been around here at the fair. So really listing some of them. So the new directives and regulations which are kicking in for reporting. And then the market always wanting a differentiation element, but with very low willingness to pay. And then the fresh produce available all year round. I think that's also something that you are very familiar with. And the sustainability aspect, so sustainable produce. And here, please allow me to have a more of a discussion with you. And before I go on and kick into the details of my presentation, I wanted to understand a little bit more what you believe is sustainability for the agri-food value chain. So please shout out to me, or I will pick what do you guys see in sustainability for the agri-food value chain. Anybody like to accompany me with this inputs? No? I will pick. So the gentleman here in brown, what do you believe in sustainability for the agri-food value chain? What do you see as a big topic? Yes? You're going to have an opinion. Everybody complains about sustainability, so you definitely have an opinion.
I think the future in the environment may insight from the sustainability. It's the next step for our life.
Okay. Any specific part of sustainability, you think?
The pesticides.
Pesticide, okay.
Fertilizers, water. What another? Fuel.
Okay.
I think so.
So I did not pay this gentleman to say this, so thank you. I will come back to your answer. Anybody else? Anybody else? Just another couple, and then I will stop and continue. Gentleman there in the middle? Yes? Sorry.
Not sorry. Soil.
Soil, okay.
Soil is future.
Soil quality, okay. Okay, so thank you for that, and I will come back to this whilst I go through the presentation. I think it's very, very valuable input, and I absolutely subscribe to everything you said. For me, sustainability, apart from the topic itself, is really the idea of quantifying it. So right now we are in a very big discussion on how to actually measure sustainability. So all the times we are thinking of very many different levers of it. So it's not just environmental, it's also social aspect, it's also the economical impact. And of course here, the very, very most important thing is to be able to quantify it. So with this said, how do we go about to measure it? And then here I kick off the presentation. Let's see if this works. Okay, great. So I want to introduce to you HORTA. So HORTA is a spin-off of a very prestigious University of Italy. So it's the University of Cattolica del Sacro Cuore. And it was recently acquired by a BASF. So you can read here our mission. So is to provide you with integrated solution and specialized consulting, helping you overcome every challenge across the entire supply chain from field to table. And this is all very good. However, it's a bit of a mouthful. And I just wanted to make sure that you also remember us, and maybe I can help you do that with the idea of why we are called ourselves HORTA. So was anybody awake in their mythology class by any chance? Any chance at all? I also had to go and search for this. And basically, HORTA is an ancient Etruscan goddess of agriculture and horticulture. And hortus is actually, in Latin, means garden or vegetable patch. So with the idea of replacing veneration to a goddess or even sacrifices, which are a little bit outdated, we really like to think that HORTA aims to provide the guidance needed to the farmers to guarantee them with a good and profitable yield. And how do we do that? So here we go. Basically what the HORTA portfolio offers is digital products and also services. So we are really, really, really interested in providing you the whole package. So of course, when we talk about product, it's something a little bit more tangible. So you can really feel it. You are utilizing, you're also paying for it. The services, on the other hand, we also see this as a very, very valuable input. And I'll describe a little bit more the digital product and then basically go into the services. So what do we have in our offer? We have the decision support system, you see there in light green, and then the sustainability tool. So decision support system is what we like to call DSS, so it's for acronyms for the friends. And basically there we are really optimizing the inputs and helping the farmer take the right decision to make sure all the inputs that the plant are needed is needing is basically alerted and then being inserted into the soil or maybe water or maybe the active ingredients which are needed. And then the sustainability tool on the other part, and this is what I will focus on today. It's really a sustainability calculator, so it's giving out life cycle assessments, KPIs, quantifying the data, and then we will see on what we focus on. So just like the gentleman was saying, water, optimization of inputs, so active ingredients as well, and then fertilization. On the services, on the other hand, as I was mentioning before, Horta is really a spin-off from a university, and we are so much into the technical details. We do not have that much of a marketing or sales role, but we're really focusing on a technical assistance and also the agronomic advice. So really interpreting the data coming out of our decision support system and really giving the farmer with the right agronomic advice to make sure there is a profitable crop and also healthy, and of course with high productivity, so very good yield. And on top of that, we also do the DSS post-seasonal reports and sustainability reports, which are very, very interesting for the food value chain to give a full traceability of the data. So moving on, just to go always a little bit deeper in what we do. Here for the agri-food supply chains, what we really see is a tailor-made approach. So we know that the food value chain is very much different. So depending on the different type of crops, depending on the different geographical locations, we see that we need a tailor-made approach. So really, crop-specific, quantitative, and qualitative improvements of the raw material, geographical specific, and that's also in the reduction on the environmental impact. So we're talking about water. In South Europe, we're talking most probably about organic soil content. So it's everything to do with also with the geographic specificity, and then the traceability and also the certification scheme. So here I'm talking about the third part, so the management of the producers and the traceability of the entire supply chain. So we all know that the retailers are asking for different certification schemes. Some are going towards Global GAP, some are going towards LEAF. So all this is really tailor-made for Horta. And then the promotion of sustainability processes, this is also something that we have in the pipeline. So we're not only thinking about life cycle assessment, but also how do we co-develop with you? How do we innovate something? And here we're more into the discussion, is carbon credit something that the industry wants? Or do we want to develop something else? Is it green energy into the field? I don't know. This is what we would like to really start the discussion with the agri-food companies and understand how they see also the sustainability and the quantifying of the goals. And moving on, so this is the DSS. So I told you we have two different products, and the Horta Decision Support System has many functionalities. You see them reported here. So the first two are really the part of inputs. So we are basically collecting data from our weather stations, so weather and forecast, the satellite images. This is bringing all together the input that are needed to be fed into our mechanistic models. And then the outputs which we are deriving from it is the defense from disease, the defense from the pest, the abiotic stress and irrigation, also the optimization of the fertilization. And then all this, with the use-sustain tool, we are also gaining traceability and then the sustainability impact. So really looking at the KPIs. So with this said, I would like to take a step into how can agri-food companies quantify the reduction of emissions. And we finally come to the second product in that portfolio, which is the use-sustain. So use-sustain, what does it do? It's really a sustainability calculator. So we have we monitor very closely the KPIs, which are derived from our systems, and it's really quantifiable data that you can utilize with the food value chain, and really for reporting, but also for benchmarking towards I don't know, your previous fields or other fields, or maybe against a local benchmark. So really trying to get all the chain from raw material to the distribution. So going a little bit more into, whenever we speak about data, we always have to speak about the quality of the data, right? So we're all aware that we need validations, we need certification scheme, and that's why on this slide I've placed on there who we're also pairing up with to make sure that our systems are accredited and are certified in order to meet the high quality, so the good standards that the industry needed. And Global GAP is basically one of the certifiers we're working with, and we are really developing together with them a new type of certification called ESS. So ESS means Environmental Sustainability Solution, which can really help differentiate your product within the food value chain, giving it a sort of a stamp of quality and and environmental quality, not just let's say, food quality. Okay, and I've been talking a lot about main KPIs, right? So what are we actually measuring? Because what I told you before, that for me it's important really, one was missing. We were really looking at the different KPIs. And for us, there are 6 different clusters which we've identified as priority. So you see health, with the different, let's say, subtitles that I've put in there, the energy component, the biodiversity, air, soil, and water. So soil was mentioned, water was mentioned, energy was also mentioned, and then the fertilization is obviously a part of the component in here that we would like to, that we really like to quantify. So with this said, we have really customized this for the, most of the food value chains are asking for these KPIs, but we are also aware that not everybody has the same approach, and therefore, we would like to say that it's really tailor-made because we have more than 190 indicators that can be calculated in order to really certify with the different norms, so the PEF and the ISO norms, which are all behind the tool, and they are automatically calculated. So this is really a discussion that we like to have with our customers and understand what is their real need and make sure that we can satisfy the requirements by picking the right indicators for them. Moving on, so as I was mentioning, the DSS for us and the U-Sustain are really fitting together very, very nicely because we see this the circle of value. So from the field data collection, which is obviously the parameters that we need to do the calculation, then we can build up the fertilization plan, so the optimal fertilization plan. Then also the best irrigation plan for our crops, depending on the environment that's surrounded, disease prevention, obviously in there, and then basically the outputs are the input optimization, which again go from the fertilization, so the water, and also the AI, so the crop protection, which is being inserted in there, and then the reduction of the carbon footprint in case needed, traceability of sustainability practices, which is obviously something requested by the food value chain, and the improvement of the product quality. So that's also something that we really see as a joint synergistic effort between the 2 components that we have in the portfolio. And this is basically the slide which I think we can say that we are mostly proud of. So here on very practical terms, so some of the food value chain has already chosen us as partners. And here are some very practical advantages. So again, for me, sustainability, we have to quantify, otherwise we are probably going towards, or going against what we say, Green Claims Directive is coming. So for the less optimistic, we can also call it the greenwashing directive. So let's try and really quantify the data, and this is what we try to do, summarizing this. Of course, the numbers, I have picked the ones that are most convenient, so you see very good numbers here. So we're always trying stuff out, piloting, and you see, so quality increase, in this case in tomato, 10% increase, 32% increase of water productivity again in tomato, and then 70% net income. Net income is obviously from the optimization of all the inputs, so really trying to see a higher margins there. And then this obviously is translating into the reduction of the use of fertilizer or the fuel consumption, or also, the cost saving, in this case in wine grapes. So these are the 2 examples that I've placed in. Wine grapes and tomato is what we're really focusing in. And then, of course, you can also see the carbon footprint, which for some is very, very relevant. Okay, and with this said, the U-Sustain, as mentioned, is really a calculator, but we'd also like to, innovate, try and find more. So what are the relevant topics? And this is the discussion that I also want to have with you today and continue having with the food value chain, because the needs that are of the food value chain, of the growers, of the cooperatives, are then for us the opportunities that we like to have to work with you. So carbon credits, for example. So in this instance, we are very much oriented towards the orchard, towards wine grapes. And what is a carbon credit? So basically, it's to certify 1 ton of CO2, which is avoided or removed thanks to sustainable practices. And yeah, so of course here these credits have a price tag attached to it, and that's what I mean by not just environmental sustainability, but also economical. So we want to give new revenue streams to the grower, to the cooperative, and also make sure that sustainability is not just, you know, a quantification exercise, but it's really something that you can gain value from it. So in this instance, you can, well, you know that agriculture is not under the ETS scheme, so we're talking about either voluntary markets or we're talking about insetting. So in this, I wanted to show, I brought with me a practical case, which is going onto the voluntary market, and then we see how many carbon credits we have actually delivered from this project. But for insetting, this is also very, very interesting because, of course, as a food value chain company, you can then abate your own emissions and make sure that you're also accomplishing your internal targets or external targets in case you've committed to SBTIs or whatever you've decided to commit to. So, okay, so this is the carbon credits in grapes, the example that I brought to you. So in a very, very simplified way, the creation of the credit is given by the reduction of emissions, and which means minor inputs, and of course this is utilizing our DSS. And also the sequestration of the carbon in the soil by agronomical practices, so by good agronomical practices. And here in this specific case, we've used both. So we've used the DSS to reduce the inputs, and we've also used agronomical practices. In this case, it was perennial grassing and also maintaining the residues in situ. And here you see in the course of the years, we've managed to acquire around 6,200 credits. Into these wine grapes cooperatives, and basically here it was certified by RINA. And I mean, the voluntary market, which is the platform that then we exchanged it on, it very much depends on the quality of the data, the quality of the credit, and this is obviously bringing a price tag with it. The voluntary market is going towards 15 or 40 euros per carbon credit. Therefore, I leave you to do the math. And this is quite so it's a substantial revenue stream. But it doesn't just mean extra money for the grower. It also means that you have a better quality of soil. And therefore, also the yield is improving. So it's not just, let's say, a new income, but it's also an improvement of the quality of the soil that you're growing your crop into. So that's pretty much what I wanted to bring with me today. And please, if you have any questions, I'm really happy to share my experience. But just a closing statement. And so as BASF, you see that we are really trying to bring our portfolio together. So with the digital components, we're of course taking a look at the optimization of the input. So we're also talking about our products and also looking at how the spray program can maybe be more sustainable or more, let's say, efficient for the crop. So we are trying to really bring a full experience to the grower, and the reporting and the verification, let's say, of the data to really, let's say, satisfy the needs coming from the end part of the value chain, which is basically the big food companies, the retailers, which are really pushing a lot of requirements on our table. So with this, we again try to bring all the elements together, connecting really for greater value, and and hopefully also helping you guys to put some more maybe money in the back pocket, or really getting healthier crop at the end, at the end of the season. So for me, that's the end of my presentation, and I would I'll happily have an exchange with you, maybe on the carbon credits or any other topics that you would like to touch upon. So thanks for this.
Thank you. So this has been impressive and a lot. So I assume some of you have questions. Who has? Then I start. There's a question. Please, can you get up, say your name and who you're working for and what your question is. Thank you.
Brilliant. So my name's Oliver. I'm working for a technology company called Biota. I'm curious to know, just on the carbon insetting, are you doing in situ samples to look for the changes in carbon, or is it remote assessment?
No, no, no. So we actually have our own model. So it's a ROFC model inside our tool. So we are elaborating the data there. But of course, we need to start from some carbon samples. So we are sampling soil and then implementing the agronomical practices. And of course, this is throughout the year. So it's obviously we need seasonality. So this is something that we cannot do over a simple season. We need to make sure there's a project in place and really collecting the data to quantify the amount of carbon which is being stocked inside the soil.
Mm-hmm. More questions? Is that a raised hand, or is it just sign of relaxation? That is good. I have a question to the wine production with the, was it right, 41% reduction of carbon footprint?
Yes. I think it was 41, is it wrong?
Oh, something like that, yeah.
Voila.
Yes, it was. Do you remember, or do you have information how that was achieved? Because that is like very impressive.
Yeah, no, sure, of course. So basically, the carbon footprint we see a lot in the inputs, right? So everything that's going into the field, and if you're reducing the amount of either the active ingredients that are going in, you're also reducing the number of time the tractor is going in. So fuel, so everything in there is accounted for. And what the beauty of our tool is that all this is automatically calculated. So with the inputs provided on, I don't know, the type of land that you're in, or also, I don't know, which instrument you're using. We are also estimating, you know, the diesel consumption if you have whatever tractor. So all this is going in. And basically, this specific project was really fuel input optimization, fertilization as well was a big component. So all this basically came in and gave us the big sum of the 41%. Of course, it depends very much on the benchmark that you've taken. So it's also very true that sometimes we find our projects in a, how to say, so depending on the customer that's asking, most probably it's something that really needs help into this. So we found this in the benchmark was quite low, and therefore the 41% was a very, very good and appreciated results that we got there. But it also very much depends on the benchmark, as I was mentioning.
Yeah. So if I now was growing wine grapes,
yeah.
and I would say, now digitization, that's the thing, and I buy your system, so there's a whole lot of research inside.
Yes.
There are some key benchmarks are already in there, so I don't have to put, you know, collect all my data for 5 years until I'm ready and mature enough to use your system.
Yeah, well, it very much depends on how the maturity of also our customer. So it depends very much on who we're speaking to. So we have our own internal data set, but of course, if we can be more accurate if there is historic data to be fed in. So in that sense, that's what I go back to my initial slide. It's really a tailor-made approach that we have with the companies, and depending on the maturity, depending on the information that's already available, we can then produce an optimal service for them. So really very much depends on the first conversation we have with the customers.
Yeah. Now, please, audience, don't let me steal your opportunity to talk to her. Who has another question? You just impressed them too much.
You really? Oh, that's good.
Oh, there's one. Please, if you could also get up, say who you are, who you're working for, so it's always good for networking, and then ask your question.
Hello. Yeah. My name is Jose, and I work for Nunems. The question really is here about reducing inputs, right? So that means reducing at the same time the amount of fungicides that you get into the application, right? How's BASF factoring this or thinking about business models to integrate, you know, everything you have in the portfolio?
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for putting me on the spot. My boss is sat right there, so I don't know how to answer this. No, I'm kidding. So basically, as I said, we are really connecting for greater value. So there is no real answer on that, because it very much depends on what we're trying to achieve. And as Orta and with the big BASF, we're really trying to, you know, for the love of farming, you know our slogan. So with this said, we are trying to make the most of what we have to really have a high quality product at the end. And of course, this also means for us less maybe optimized inputs, which could mean less active ingredients, which are sprayed on the in our grapes in this case, or in our tomatoes. And that's really a business model that we have to work together with the company. So we're more shifting towards digital component with respect to maybe, I don't know, advice, agronomic advice, provided to the grower, or it very much depends on who we're talking to.
And I learn from being here on the stage and hearing all the speeches that fighting fungi is the big issue at the moment.
Yeah.
Seems at least, for regulatory reasons as well, but also for others, because there are so many presentations and new solutions. Please. Two guys are discussing if they are courageous enough to ask a question.
No. He doesn't want to. He's my boss, so he doesn't want to ask a question. I hope not.
Okay, so you are not afraid enough to call the audience, but
No.
you're afraid enough to call your boss.
Oh, no, he
Thank you
doesn't.
very much. Make a big applause for our energetic Antonella Pucci.
Thank you.
Thank you.